Tell me what you know about this kid out of Mays, Quintavious
Johnson. I did his first high school football game in the Corky Kell Classic, and ironically, I think it was a night that I first saw Oscar Delp play at West Forsyth. And coach kept telling us, hey, we got a 14-year-old quarterback that's about 6'3" and a half. And I said, okay, we were doing our pre-shows for the game. And he comes out, and I said, that kid right there plays quarterback, and he's 14. He goes, yeah. So he was like 6'3", 225 pounds as a 14-year-old freshman at Mays. And you fast forward to today as a rising senior, today at Georgia, I think he was 6'4" and a half, 242 pounds. He worked out for Georgia staff today. And I'll be honest with you, I made some notes, and I said that Georgia is definitely looking at him, but I didn't know that he had LSU offers. I didn't know he had a Clemson offer. So he's been on the kind of the scene here for a while, and he's transitioning over. Ironically, he does play. I saw him last week at Georgia Tech. You know what he was doing? He was playing quarterback for a 7-on-7 team. He throws a little bit too still, but he is a defensive end.
dude.
He can play edge.
6'5", 255, and he's out there slinging it.
All I'm seeing is a personal protector on punt team right now.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a personal protector on the punt team.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, but when you look at him, this is a guy that I think with Georgia, from what I heard this afternoon, got from sources there, they were extremely happy with how athletic he was in space. And when you start looking at a player like this, obviously you're going to look. He's not going to blow you away with his ranking, but I think when Georgia worked him out today and they were like, look, this kid can play one of two positions for us. And Brian McClendon's from Mays. Dale McGee recruited him. So Trey Scott and those guys, Chidera, had a chance to look at him today. So congratulations to him. But I think with Georgia fans, don't worry about what he's ranked. He worked out for the staff, and their evaluations have been pretty damn spot on, especially when they get a chance to work you out. And this guy's got a ton of ceiling left in him. And I think, look, I like to get, but doesn't really affect any of their other targets. These guys are going to be they're still after Williams Nowari, Dylan Stewart, all these other guys that play those positions, that play a defensive end, and those guys have a spot regardless.
Yeah, I think the exciting thing about Johnson to me is just the rawness that you're getting in a guy like this. You just don't have a frame like this come along all the time. No. And then you see the athleticism that obviously it takes to play quarterback. I think that, he's a guy who Georgia is taking, like you said, you can't be too concerned about the ranking, but I think the ranking stems a lot from the idea that this guy hasn't necessarily been focusing on this position. He's been kind of just doing a little bit of it all for his team. And I mean, we don't get a lot of transition quarterbacks to edge position. I mean, that's not a common
I'm just
thing.
waiting for the quarterback highlights on this huddle film. That's why I had pulled it up.
We just don't see that a lot, man. So, like I said, for me, it's a situation where you've got a lot of upside here in this guy, and that's exciting. And Georgia has done really well on taking guys like this and getting the most out of them. And, these in-state guys, like you said, Rusty, the connections down there at Mays, I mean, you're not going to get somebody more well-connected than Brian McClendon there. Yep. And, I guarantee you those folks signed off on this as well. So, I think it's definitely an intriguing pickup. If people aren't excited yet, I can understand that because, the 3-star isn't going to necessarily tickle anybody. But I think that watch this kid's senior year and watch him focus on this position. It was some of the same things we heard, about Samuel and Pimba last year. Obviously, he was a higher ranked guy, but the talk was he spent a lot of time on offense. What can this guy be when he's solely focused on one position on the field? I think that's what you got to wonder about a guy like Quintavious Johnson as well.
And I love the fact that he's lining up in a 4 technique, a 5 technique throughout this video right here. He's striking blockers. He's playing at the point of attack. And then he goes to Georgia's camp. They work him out in space. They like him enough to offer him. Rusty sees him throwing passes at Georgia Tech. He's a renaissance man.
That he is. All right, we teased the Joseph Jonah Ajonye news, and he is on this elite list of Georgia visitors this weekend, guys. I think if you're a dog, you've been looking for some more commitments. These dog fans on our message board are greedy. They wake up every morning. Whenever Rusty posts something, Rusty, when are we getting a new commitment? Guys, When's the next commitment going to drop? You just got one yesterday. You got one a couple days ago. So when you look at Joseph Jonah Ajanye, I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow or anything, but when you see that he's in the Classic City, that's just boding well for the Dogs fans out there, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to put the visit list up at first thing in the morning, and there's going to be some changes in there. It's going to be a little bit smaller group, but I think Georgia fans will make some changes to this tonight. I can tell you right now that I'll go ahead and tell you that Charles Lester, the 5-star, he will not be on campus this weekend. He's got a decision coming at the end of July. In my opinion, he's going to end up at Florida State, but Georgia is definitely recruiting so many DBs. It's crazy. So, but we'll have a list up in the morning, and I'll have that thing updated by the time you probably have your morning coffee, and you'll know who's going to be expected into town and who's going to be here as an unofficial visitor in the 2025 class. I think will really make Georgia fans kind of happy. But he's in the 2025 class, so we'll have the updated expected official visit list first thing in the morning.
Yeah, Ajanye continues to trend Georgia heavily, as you can see there in the RPM. Sam Spiegelman dropped some intel over on the board tonight on him as well. You can go check that out. The kid was pretty open right off the jump when he got the offer that Georgia was his dream school. Then he follows it up with a quick visit, and really it doesn't feel like there's been any momentum lost since then. I think some people wonder, how does it change if you get a guy in, you give him a few weeks to get back? The hype continues to build around this guy. And again, like we were talking about with Quintavious Johnson, to me, what's exciting about Joseph Jonah Ajanye is he's just getting started, man. He just started playing football his freshman year. He's learning this game, and he's raw in it, man. And so that, to me, when you talk about elite upside, I think this is a guy who brings that to the table, and has come a long way already in his time, and is playing some great competition out there in Texas as well. So, just a lot working in Georgia's favor here. And hey, it probably benefits you too with that talented linebacker he's got behind him there in the defense as well, if they're able to pull a guy like this in Justin Williams. So both those guys on campus this weekend, definitely 2 visits we'll be watching closely, but Jonah Ajanye, that's a big one for Georgia, and a guy, oh boy, you like to see that.
Position of need, man. That's body types, that body type.
Yeah, those don't grow on trees. And listen, we all work hard for info, and we love to tout our info and talk about what we're hearing and stuff like that. I mean, this kid's just told us from the jump, hey, it's my dream school. Hey, Trey Scott taught me more in 5 minutes than how to be a good football player than I learned all of last year. No offense to my coaching staff, just stuff like that. And I'm just like, all right, well, I think I know who you like at least. And then all of a sudden you got experts coming in from around the country, which is awesome over here at On 3. Guys from our Oklahoma site, Texas site, and all that stuff kind of popping in and saying Georgia's in great shape for this kid. And Sam Spiegelman dropped some intel, like you said, today. So, this is a big one for Georgia for sure. And we'll be keeping a close eye on that. And another big-time offensive lineman at Rusty had something on today, but you got to come over to the site to see that.
Yeah, we're not giving that one away.
Yeah.
Number 3 D lineman, according to On 3, and the number 9 overall player in Texas. And there's a lot of people in Texas last time I checked. Let's chop some wood, fellas. I'll let y'all start. I gotta find a video about the guy I'm chopping wood about.
All right, I'll kick it off tonight because we were just talking about Joseph Jonah Ajanye, and then you get a guy like Quintavious Johnson who, is an edge guy, but also can play some D-line, play with his hand in the ground as well. You got Justin Green involved. You got Jordan Thomas, and now the questions are beginning. How many guys are they going to take on this defensive front? I'm chopping wood on taking every single one of them you can get through the door, buddy, because these cats are not just all over the place. They're not walking around looking for handouts, man. Everybody in the country wants these big guys. Kirby Smart especially loves his trench guys. He made it a point from that opening press conference, and he's delivered on it ever since. I'm chopping wood on take all the D-line you can get, man, because you don't know that next year is going to be as favorable to you. You don't know that next year is going to be as ripe with it. So load it up, man. Take all you can get. Trey Scott, get on the horn, get extra spots, do what you got to do, man. But get in there and take the big boys all you can.